DJ Payne 1.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's Space Cowboy here. Another iteration of the Space Cowboy Show. Now we're talking about a loss, but not just any kind of loss. A loss where you just looked terrible. I don't know what to make of what we're seeing, and it's embarrassing to say the least. We're going to talk about everything that happened in today's game versus the Chicago Bears. I hope everyone's having a great day aside from what happened with the Cowboys today. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit the like button. It doesn't take too long to do. It helps with the channel out in the YouTube algorithm. If you are new here, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching this on Twitter/X, you can hit the follow and hit like the stream there. If you haven't done so already, also hit the notification bell as well, because this is going to be a pretty rough year for the Cowboys. And I said it on Twitter, and I'm still going to hold this here. I'm okay. I think it's time we just kind of get through the motions. It's one of those years where you're just not going to look good. And quick shout outs before we get started. Stevie Mac, I agree with you. Team Tank, let's ride. Yeah. What's going on, Jared? Our defense is trash, bro. Dak Prescott didn't play his best. It was bad. Anthony, what's going on? I'm not one to typically overreact, but I don't know how Eberflus even fixes this. He might actually have to go, though we know our front office won't do it. Fire him. Let's see here. And then Michael, horrible performance. The offense hasn't played perfect to have a shot. And then also brought up the fact that the defense needs a major. I mean, this is not winning football, and I see what you're saying, Jared, as well. Got our butts kicked flat out. Defense, right. There's a lot of things that are wrong with this football team, and we're going to talk about that in today's show. Obviously, you have a final score, 31-14. Now, I did talk about it in the pre-show, which was yesterday, that the Cowboys have not won in Chicago since 2014. And typically when they travel there are some weird things that happen when they go there. And this was peculiar because at the start of the game, you get the stop, You're running the ball very well, and then Javonte Williams basically gets stripped of the football, like punked basically. And it pretty much went downhill from there because the Cowboys just offensively, it felt like they were scared to open up the pass game. And then there are plenty of things I'm going to get on the offense, defense. I want to try and get some initial thoughts out just to kind of set the table. But, Javonte Williams was averaging 7.6 yards per carry. You had Ferguson have 13 receptions and not have 100 yards. I think that for Dak Prescott, he did have – what was it? 31 for 40, a touchdown and 2 interceptions, and the one interception wasn't on him. Give me 1 second, everybody. Sorry. Okay. Honestly, I think I should just get into some of the things that irked me during this game because there was a lot. The problem is that when you look at how you were operating your offense, it really looked like it was moving through mud for most of the game. You did a lot of bootlegs and dump offs and all this other stuff, which again, I'm not going to get mad at a play for getting a few yards, but it really felt like they didn't have any urgency to try and do any deep shots, even with or without CD. And I got to get on Brian Schottenheimer because why are we throwing CD Lamb in the backfield, especially in a play like that? And again, hindsight's always going to be 2020. Like there's always a chance where someone might not get hurt or whatever the case may be, but that was not a good play call. And this happened again where they were in a 4th and short, whatever situation. Doesn't matter. It's a 4th and short. And you're going for it. And you waste the timeout and still kick a field goal. So there's no point in using timeouts if you're not going to just go for it. I don't understand what the philosophy is at that point. And then towards the tail end, and I had to go back and see this, like we called a timeout, but we just threw Joe Milton in there. So what are we doing? So that's the first thing is like the way that was one thing. And then it was just, I don't know what Brian Schottenheimer was thinking. I just really do not understand what I understand like you're running the ball more effectively. I'm not taking that away from you, but offensively, it really felt like you weren't trying to push the field at all. And so, yeah, well, you'll look at the stat sheet and you'll see that it says Dak Prescott was 40 for 31, and that looks great in terms of him completing his passes. The fact of the matter is that it just really felt like you weren't letting him push. And we don't know if it's on Dak or on Shotty, but again, as a coach, you need to understand, like, this is the situation we're in. We have to go. Like, we can't keep matriculating down the field. And, oh, my God, dude. You made Caleb Williams look amazing. And it's just, I really don't know what you do. Like, and I said this before, I'm not saying the Cowboys were going to do anything special this year, but the fact is that doesn't make you immune to criticism. That doesn't make you immune to what's going on. This defense, while in terms of like the numbers isn't worse than 2020, it's on par where you are just giving up chunk play after chunk play. And the only way you're really getting pressure on the quarterback, like really good pressure, is by sending blitzes. There's no, like, like, what are we doing? And I'm just so lost at what we're seeing. Defensively, it's a mess. And I understand that from the perspective of you lose one of your best defensive players who's coming into town next week to pretty much put you out of your misery on Sunday Night Football, no less. And you got to make up for what you lost. Diggs doesn't look good. Your safeties look horrible. Your defensive line, aside from the interior, doesn't look like it's up to par with what you want. This defense just looks atrocious. Now, I have looked at the contract situations. You can move off of Trayvon Diggs after this year. But look, even if Deron Bland comes back and he's playing very well, that's not saving you. That really isn't. We had no sacks today. It's just so bad. And then on top of that, it's a massive combination. And at first I was like, all right, let me just see another week to see what's going on. But the personnel ain't good. Your coaching staff is not doing a good job. This had to be the most, I don't want to say like the most embarrassing loss, because to be honest with you, I've seen worse, but it was bad. It's really bad. And then to point out, because I remember people were pointing out with Dak Prescott, right? Dak Prescott, it's a situation where if you are telling your quarterback you need to play perfect football and you need to go out there and score 35 points for us to have a chance, that's not winning football, guys. And that's not to excuse Dak Prescott or the offense or anything like that. It's just, you can't do that. And the thing is defensively, and I remember I had a conversation with a friend of mine during the halftime. I think Micah Parsons really masked up a lot of what happened in that secondary, because when you have a really good pass rush, you don't need to worry about what you got back there. You honestly don't, because I'm not saying you don't have to have nobodies out there and you'll be fine. But the fact of the matter is that when you have a really good pass rush, it doesn't put so much pressure on your secondary, which was already porous going into the year. I don't know what you do. I really don't. And I think, and the other thing I wanted to bring up was tank watch, right? For all the fans that are trying to find something to get positive out of the season, with Dallas losing today, they dropped to the 13th overall pick. And we did see Green Bay lose at the buzzer to Cleveland, and they have the 26th overall pick. So for what it's worth, I can't, man. For what it's worth, we got something out of that. But I digress. The fact is this isn't a good football team, guys, and it's okay to admit that. See, for me, I thought that this was they're in the 9 to 10 win range where you can afford to lose games and you can still make it in. I don't think this team's a playoff team. I think that they're that bad, and I think that you'll win a couple games here and there, but you're so far not on the right track. And this very much so, this game reminded me a lot of what happened last year. Offensively, you're not moving the ball quickly enough. And then on top of that, your defense isn't doing its job. It looks like a continuation of what we saw last year. Now, again, when you have a new coaching staff, it's really hard to determine what the team is going to look like. But when we talk about, because there's this word that keeps getting thrown out there, consistency, myself included, because I remember when I said it, no matter what happened, even last week when we won, you have to be consistent at doing things and developing I hate throwing the word culture out, but being able to win games, being able week after week see a game plan. And it just looks like that while you're able to run the football effectively and do your job there are inconsistencies all across the board. You look at the defense specifically, they're consistent, they're consistently horrible. But on the offensive side of the ball is when I'm talking about that. The inability to learn from mistakes of, hey, this is how we're going to manage the clock, or this is how we're going to call these plays. It feels like you're just winging it. And so we're at a point where this Cowboys team is in a position where if they can't score 30 plus points a game, because you'll have an off day. Like Dak Prescott, I personally believe, had an off day. CeeDee Lamb got hurt. If those dudes can't give you their all, then what's going to happen? What's going to happen, guys? You're going to see performances like this. And what's sad is that, and I wanted to get to the stats of the game, and just bear with me for 1 second. I'm just trying to also take a look to see, because I've been having people text me about what happened in the game. You were 3 for 11 on third down. The Bears were 8 for 14. You were 2 for 3 on fourth down. The Bears were 1. And by the way, that 1 fourth down conversion was a touchdown in the end zone. And this is a team that really should have been 0-3, but they're not. And so let's talk about the box score. I'm hoping I'm hoping I don't hear anything from ads or anything like that. So Caleb Williams had, I can't believe this, dude, 4 touchdowns, a 142.6 passer rating, 19 for 28. And they struggled to run the ball, guys. 29 attempts, 87 yards, averaging 3 yards per carry. You were averaging 6.1 yards per carry. And by the way, I understand that you had the 22-yard carry that resulted in the fumble, but still, you were getting plays. You've been consistently getting nearly 100 rushing yards a game, I think. That's if I'm correct on that. But Jake, like, it really felt like when you tied the game up, there was a perfect opportunity to reset the room and figure out, okay, guys, that start was bad. We got back into this game, 2-point conversion. That was the last time the Cowboys scored, and that was like 7 minutes to go in the second quarter. It just looks like a lost team. And then you had, what was it? You had Dak Prescott have the 2 interceptions. One was not his fault because Pickens bobbled it up. The other was, of course, his. And then Joe Milton had an interception. So you had a total of 4 turnovers today. And regardless of what time or where you're at in the game, it's inexcusable that we're seeing this happen. And so I'm just flabbergasted at where we're at. And you have the Packers come into town. I'm at a loss for words, guys. I just don't know what you do in this instance. It's just give me 1 second. I can't. It's like let's take a look. Showtime, what's going on? This is the answer to the question I asked when I said, what's the point of stopping the run when you can't get the QB on the ground? This is why they paid your former guy all that money. That is true. And the thing is, Showtime, to that point, is that it feels like, and going back to where, like, I thought that the Cowboys had a plan, and maybe they still do, it just feels like you're at a whim at this point because you're hoping that the young dudes of Sam Williams, Marshawn Nealon, and Donovan Ezeraku can make up for the production that you lost. You signed Dante Fowler. He's not been good. He just hasn't. Your edges have been not good at all. And then Asian Persuasion, what's going on, my guy? Linebackers are pretty disappointing too. Yeah, I called the linebackers, like, there was conversations about where the linebackers the strongest unit. And I, even with DeMarvion Overshown, I still think, and this is what's sad, is your defensive line is your best unit. And it's in the interior, it's fine. But on the edges, they suck. They're just terrible. Team is like a sinking ship. You plug up one hole and another one. It's just how it's been. I don't get how with Lamb and Pickens we aren't able to light up. And that's the thing, is that I understand that it's, you're not going to throw for 500 yards every single game. But the fact of the matter is that it really feels like Not on the stat sheet, but when you look at how it was playing out in real time, it looked like it just looked like watching paint dry. It's it's just so bad. And I think that for me at least, the only benefit is that you have your first round pick. You will have another first round pick. So the only benefit to beating the Packers, and assuming if you could salvage the season, which I don't think you're going to beat Green Bay. You haven't beaten Green Bay since 2016. The only way that you can really salvage this is you beat the Packers, you lower their draft pick, and you just kind of go from there. But I don't see that happening. But this is where I'm nervous for the direction of this team, because I don't have a problem if we have to suck at this point to get where we need to go. But the problem is if you are going to be so bad, you might as well have blown up the team. You should not have brought Dak Prescott back. You should have traded Lamb. You should have liquidated all of the assets that you have and do a full-on scale rebuild. That's just how I look at it. If you're going to be bad, just do the best you can to be bad. And we're kind of looking at this schedule. I wouldn't be shocked if the Cowboys, like, this is looking like a 5-win football club right now. Like, they're not looking good at all. So I'll just keep it simple. Should Eberflus be canned, or is it going to be the worst game? So here's the thing. The Dallas Cowboys are not going to fire anybody midseason, regardless how bad it gets. And not saying that I defend that or anything like that. The fact of the matter is that they will not fire coaches until the end of the year. Now, I've gone on record and I have said you should at least give it the year and just see how it goes so you can get a good draft pick. But there was an interesting thing that happened. I'm not sure if you guys were watching this on X. I have to pull up the tweet because my guy, Professor O, talked about how we needed to just fire Matt Eberflus at the half. And I don't blame him for saying that. And bear with me while I'm on the fly here, because this was very important when we have these types of conversations, is that, let me see, where is it at? And let's take a look here. Where was it? I'm trying to find that tweet because there is an extremely real there, and I apologize, and and thank you guys for your patience here, because where was it? Don't tell me that tweet's gone. You had to deal with DC, 4-man rush. It's just so bad, and I was trying to find the tweet because Jerry Jones just said that he fully believes the Cowboys are a playoff team. Well, I disagree. I'm trying to find that tweet. Here it is. So at the half, Professor O, Matt Owen over on Twitter, said Matt Eberflus, pack your bags, unreal. Now, Sean Smith, former former player and all this other stuff, and he literally said the following: he sucks as a coach. Trust me, players don't respect him. Now, obviously that's the opinion of one man, but it clearly looks like the team does not give a shit. Excuse my French. So, guys, I think that while we're kind of wrapping up the show here, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that other stuff. I wanted to talk about this, actually. Thank you so much for bringing this up, Asian Persuasion. Everyone thought we were going to be good after the Eagles lost. I just saw a choke job. And the Eagles, I don't know what to make of them. They just had the blocked field goals twice. Like, it looks like they are the 2024 Chiefs where nothing can go wrong for them. But it seems like more like the Eagles just flopped than the Cowboys were being good. And it's just really scary with where we're at, because we can go through the motions of this year. Let's just say we go 5-12, 6-11, whatever the case may be. However, if they go out there and we go into draft season. Like, this is where, like, I'm watching this. You need to overhaul that whole defense. And so what's scary is then your tackles they don't look good. I mean, Terrence Steele looks horrible. Guyton just looks like he's trying to find his spot. I don't know, man. I really don't know. And I apologize. I don't have the answers for you. I'm going to have to watch the game back because we'll have a midweek video talking about where the Cowboys stand and, kind of comparing where the other coaches are, because typically Dallas Cowboys head coaches don't have great starts to them. So, and again, I'm not excusing that. It's just the facts. Anyways, I just don't know what to do, guys. I really don't, and I'm not gonna hold you to it because I need to decompress after what I just watched because this was horrible. Anyways, I think that it's clear that this team is not going in the right direction, and we lose a game like this and then we'll freaking beat the Packers. It's just some BS, but no, I don't think so. So now you're staring down the barrel of 1-3. You really should be 0-3 at this point, but I'm going to take a win. I'll take wins whenever I can get them but guys, it's just so bad. So, and I apologize. It sounds like I'm saying the same stuff, but I don't know what else we do other than we're along for this wacky ride. So is what it is. Well, I'm going to get going, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, I'm going to watch the game back, and I'm going to watch some of the other games back because I want to make sure I have a clear opinion. We'll have probably a video come out midweek talking about where the team's at. And then I'll answer this last question, then I'll get going. Do we trade for any defenders or do we play it out and keep our picks? I think you don't trade for anybody. There's no point. There really is no point because I think even if you trade for a good corner or even a linebacker, it's not going to mask the deficiencies that you have. So you might as well keep your picks because if you think about it, the third-round pick that you gave up for George Pickens, you got to decide what you're going to do with the money there. Are you going to let him walk and get a comp pick in 2027? Yeah, like what are you going to do? So it is what it is. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed. We could try to enjoy. But I will see you guys later in the week. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.